going, boys? Welcome to another episode of Football Predictions La Liga edition of Saturday Matchday 36. So we're just gonna get straight into it with these bets. Let's lock in. Okay, so next up we got Atletico Madrid versus Real Sociedad. So if you throw in this parlay at Betway, you put in $2, you get four bucks in. So that's a pretty good deal. But let's look at why we are saying what we're saying. And our best, of course, is Atletico Madrid to win. So Atletico Madrid have scored 14 goals in 10 games and conceded 12. So a 1.2 average of goal conceded, and 1.4 goals on average scored. Real Sociedad have scored the same amount of goals, 14, and conceded 18. So 1.4 goals scored, 1.8 goals conceded. Now, why are you saying that not all both teams um, to score, right? It's because it's a very defensive team. Atletico Madrid tends to do pretty good against decent opponents in terms of defensively. So that's my bet. And again, do what you want to do. And then we're gonna look at the form, right? We gotta look at the form and stuff, right? So in terms of the last 10 games, Atletico Madrid have won four, lost four, and drawn two. With Real Sociedad, they have won two, drawn four, and lost four. So in terms of form, Atletico Madrid is a bit better. And lastly, let's look at the 2.5 games, right? In the last 10 games, they've done over 2.5 for Atletico Madrid 5 times and not the other five. Real Sociedad have done it 6 times and not 4 times. I understand we're going against the statistics for once, but trust me, guys, this is a short bet. And now on to the next bet. Okay, guys, now on to the next one. We got Girona versus Villarreal. It's gonna take some time to show, but there we go. So if you throw in these bets, right, in the parlay bets, and you get $2, you get $5.40, pretty good odds. So let's look into why we're saying this, right? The form first, the goal scoring form. Villarreal scored 13 and conceded 12 in the last 10 games. So 1.3 average scored, 1.2 goals conceded. Girona scored 9 and conceded 17 goals. So 0.9 goals scored and 1.7 conceded. So we are looking at a high score. We are looking for Girona to keep that pattern and let Villarreal score more goals, right? That's why we're saying over 1.5 goals, right? And then we're looking over 2.5. Villarreal have done this 6 times, and Girona have done this 4 times. That's why we are saying, okay, let's take it down a notch and say over 1.5. Now both teams to score is very likely. With La Liga, it's always most teams have somewhat equal standings, except the big three. Barca, Real Madrid, and them. Yeah, and then yeah, like let's move on to the next bet, guys. Okay, so the next bet, I guess, gonna take some time to show. It's gonna be Lazio versus Juventus. I'm just gonna wait for it to come through. There we go. So we're not doing any parlays because this game is one of those like I see Juventus games like menu games where like one game they're amazing and then the other game they're kind of trash. So there's no inconsistency with the games. So we're not gonna throw in parlays on them. But draw a double chance for Lazio to win and over 1.5. It's pretty decent. Lazio have scored 12 in the last 10, considered 13, and then Juventus have scored 10 and considered 12. So both one goal on average considering goals scored and conceded. So that's why we're saying over 1.5. Now you can actually, I'm not even add it here, but you can actually add them both teams to score. You can do that. That's not that bad. That's not that bad of an assumption here. Um, but let's look at over 2.5. Lazio have done over 2.5 3 times, and Juventus have done that 3 times too. So you can see that they're not that they don't score as much. They don't have high scoring games. So I would argue that's why I throw in a draw in there. or Lazio to win. Lazio are favorites. And then their form is they've won four. Lazio have won four, drawn four, and lost two. Juventus have won four, drawn three, and lost three. And yeah, that's about it. Let's hop on to the next bet. All right, guys, we got Bayern versus Borussia. So excuse me. If you throw in these bets, if you throw in these bets into Betway, you will get a $2.50 on real return. It's not that bad. It's low key trash, but you know what I'm saying. What can we do? This is Bundesliga. Bundesliga and French leagues tend to do less, especially with just the favorites involved, right? So what are we saying? What we're saying, right? Bayern have scored 24 and conceded 13. So high scoring at the same time. They can concede in the past 10 games, while Borussia have scored 20 and conceded 22. So at the same time, they're very good offensively, but defensively they're not as good. So this is going to be a high scoring game. Now, if you know ball, Harry Kane scores pretty much nearly like every game, right? Nearly every game. He's very impressive. So that you can throw that in the parlay as well. Of course, they just won the league. Maybe Harry Kane, if the stars align, you would want to reward, show the fans like a sign of thank you by, what I'm saying, giving them a goal. But yeah, like I said, if the stars align. But yeah, on to the next bet. All right, guys, we will now take it down a notch to the league on. We're gonna be looking at a big game, Monaco versus Lyon. Just waiting for it to show up real quick. Okay, so if you throw in these bets, you get if you put $2 in, you get $3.10. Pretty good odds. Uh, yeah, like I said, pretty good odds. Let's look into for League On is a league known for high scoring matches. So that's why most games for League On, excluding the PSG games, instead of Monaco and Lyon games, you can just throw in over 1.5 goals and you'll be good, right? But let's look at that form, right? The goal scoring form. Monaco have scored 17 and conceded 8. So that's a pretty high scoring team right there with some defensive stability. Lyon have scored 27 and conceded 20. So these guys look like an all-out type of attacking team. Like they're willing to, they're not trying to defend. They're willing to outscore you. Hey, we gonna use that to our advantage here, right? Right, and then over 2.5 games from Monaco, they've done this 6 times, and 4 times they missed. And for Lyon, they've done this 10 times. So, like I said, with League On games, it's high scoring games tend to be the outcome. So go ahead and lock them bets in, bro. But we're gonna go move on to the last game. Last game of my last bet. Last bet. Yeah. Okay, so last game of the last bet of the video. We got another on then PSG game. I cannot pronounce the home game. I've tried my best at home trying to practice it. I just can never. I could always butcher it. But here we are. If you throw in these bets in the bet wave, the parlay bets, if you put in two, you get $3.06. Not too bad. Like we said, League On is very good. It's well known for over 1.5 bet market. Now, the fact is that we're not expecting both teams to score. If you look at the form, let's look at the form real quick, right? So the home side have lost 9 times, won none, and drawn one, and then PSG have won 6, drawn one, and lost 3, right? So that we're expecting PSG to kind of walk over them, right? And then if you look at the PSG goals over 2.5, they've done it 7 times, and then a home team have done it 3 times. So you can see it's very the contrast is there. So we keep it simple and safe with over 1.5. Consistency wins. And PSG have scored 18 and conceded 14. So and the home side have scored 2 and conceded 22. So we're looking at PSG to kind of win to nil. You could even throw that extra as an extra bet in there, for PSG to win to nil. And honestly, makes sense. It's plausible. more than likely is gonna happen. And yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in to the bets. I know it's not gonna be my normal content, but I want to help you guys make some extra money on the side. Remember, do not bet money that you cannot afford to lose. We're here to have fun. Of course, not really have fun, but it's a disclaimer. Be responsible, and I'm gonna holler back at y'all boys later. See y'all boys.